Howdy! This is more of a casual video because, nothing, not everything has to be pure production quality, which I don't do anyway because, amateur YouTuber, blah blah blah. But, yeah, I just thought I'd do one of these sort of video blogs. Just sort of the things I normally get up to on my weekends. So yeah, it's just sort of casual. Got a few jobs on the list here today. If you want to waste about 15 minutes of your life, stick around because we are going to clean 2 monitors. Try and oil bearings on a NAS box fan or fans. Fail at installing a CPU, and almost, but not quite, fail at replacing a fan in my main gaming machine. You can see there just after removing the stickers, there's yellowing on the plastics, and that's, why I don't like stickers on plastics. Yeah, the Small FM one was fun just to rip off like a bandage, get that satisfaction. But yeah, as I said, minimal editing, just going to be a sort of rough cut. But yeah, I'm just starting off with cleaning these 2 monitors up. The first one's this AOC one, 17-inch display. It's actually quite a nice screen. But yeah, toothbrush is really good at getting in those cracks in the screens. This thing's really dirty, like really filthy. You can see there from the cloth it's not good. And an often overlooked part of cleaning these things is the cable. The cable lies on the floor, lies in poo, gets all gooey, gross, just nasty. So yeah, it was always good just running the cloth along. You can see there all the dirt that came off that. And of course the plug on the end. I just sort of wipe the outside perimeter so I don't bend any of the pins, of course, inside of the plug. And finally, wiping off the front of the display with a microfiber towel and glass cleaner. I was using just glass cleaner on the whole thing, really. I find that works pretty good at removing goo. You can use baking soda, other things like that. You can use alcohol. I've had mixed results with alcohol. If you use a magic eraser, you just got to be careful not to take the texture off the display if you've got special plastics with textures on that. This is the second one I picked up. I bought it on a whim just after coming back from out of town with that first one. This one came up online, and I wanted it because it was still 17-inch, larger display, but it had that lovely Windows 98 sticker on the front of it, and it had the flat glass. Once again, cleaning the cable because gross. Also, this one needed the toothbrush treatment on the ribs. I always find it kind of satisfying doing the glass at the end. You got the special clean cloth. Of course, flipping the cloth over, doing a few passes on it's always good. But yeah, I'm just using regular glass cleaner on the whole thing. With LCDs, you probably want some better suited LCD cleaner for that in case you strip any protective layers or reflective layers off the panel. But yeah, it's looking all good on those. So yeah, next is the NAS box. This is what I use to back up my computer with, all my videos, things like that. It came from work as an offcast. And the fans is sat in a really bad environment, so the fans are all worn out, make horrible noises when you turn it on. So I've taken it outside and I've actually pre-blown it out, but I'll need to do some more cleaning. But yeah, 2 screws, one on the top, one on the bottom, you can see here. And the fans just come right out, and they're just regular PC fans. So if you needed to replace these, it's super easy. You can even put some nice Noctua fans or something in there as well. But if they're not too far gone, which sadly these ones are, there's actually a trick you can do to sort of give them a little bit of extra life. which I've done before in that Lenovo T450S video I put together. There's 4 screws just around the perimeter of the housing, and the fan just comes right out, and then you can take it outside and clean the fan a bit more because there's always extra dirt and stuff on the fins. Normally you peel back the label and there's like a bearing or a C-clip in there. These ones don't have that. Instead, what you have to do is evenly push each side of the fan out and try and pop it out. It's held in with a plastic little washer retaining clip there, and that you can just pull off with your fingers. You sort of pinch and pull without trying to deform the plastic washer too much. And then there's like a I think it's copper bearing sleeve, and you just pull that out. And then what you can do is get a special very light oil. This is oil that's actually made for sort of re-lubricating electronic motors and things like that. You're not really supposed to use engine oils because they have additives and the weight's all wrong. This is a very pure thin oil, and you can just put a bit on the shaft, just a drop. And then I'm just going to do that on each fan. And then, yeah, I'll just slide the bearing back on. I also put a little bit in the base, just so it's got some oil sitting in there, just a drop. You don't want to get it on any of the copper coils there. And yeah, slide them on and put the clip back on. Yeah, the other thing I like to do is just put a drop on the end of the shaft there. Just do that on each. It just keeps a little bit of lubricant in there as it's spinning on top of it. And as I said, you don't need much, you just need a drop really. The idea is not to flood it with oil, it's just to provide a bit of extra lubrication, because often the lubrication dries out. It's real easy to get it all back together. You just sort of do the reverse, screw in the holder to the fan, and then plug the fan in, pop it into the back, and put the 2 screws per fan in. Sometimes you can get to this problem early, and it just needs a bit of lubrication, and then the fans are good for quite a while, but often than not, it's too far gone. It's quieter, but it's still got a bit of a rumble to it. It's this faint sort of like so that's going to need new fans, but it's definitely helped a little bit, so that's good. Next job, which I failed at, I was going to make a bit more of a longer video on it, but as anything with old computers, it turns to custard a wee bit, and yeah, best intentions. This one was a CPU swap. So currently I've got a 200 megahertz Pentium in there, MMX Pentium. It's just a socket 7 machine, but I had overclocked it to 233 megahertz to get a bit of extra speed out of it, because I don't have a faster CPU for it. And reading all the research, this motherboard is supposed to support AMD K6, but they don't have the jumpers available that you normally would to set the voltages. So I took the whole machine apart, did some research, took the whole machine apart, pretty much just trying to flip the board around here just to get at the jumpers, and remove the old CPU. And I thought, oh sweet, I'll just go and put the new one in, set my jumpers, blah blah blah. But they didn't include any headers on the jumper, so normally when that happens, it means that the board doesn't support it. There's normally some sort of feature or voltage regulator that's not there, that's required to run it. So I ended up having to put the whole machine back together. So there's my original CPU. You see 200 megahertz. Here's the K6 that I wanted to put in. It's just a little bit faster. It's 266 megahertz. This board does support K6 CPUs, but they need the higher voltage, the 2.8 volt or higher. I don't have a 2.2 capability, But yeah, as I said, it turned to custard. So I guess I need a different motherboard, which I do have some spares, so I'll investigate that later. So yeah, not everything works out with vintage computing. Anyone who does this sort of stuff can tell you that often and not turns to crap. So you try and plan, but there's always something. So, and it's a good thing I didn't continue with it because I shot it out of focus there. So yeah. Alright, next job is my main vintage gaming PC. Yes, I keep it under a towel because the sun here in New Zealand likes to vaporize old plastics. And I picked up this fan on Trade Me for $10. I've never bought a Noctua fan before, so I thought this will be the ideal candidate because the fan that it's got is really loud. I'll play a video here. Yeah, you can definitely hear it. It's quite noisy when you're just sitting next to it because it's next to your head. I just found a generic fan, which of course I just pulled all the pins out. I had to modify it to fit this machine, but it's easy enough. Just bend the little locking pins back out and pop all the connectors back in. But yeah, I thought, I'll put in this Noctua fan because I wanted it to be quieter, basically. So here it is. It's just held in with 2 screws because I don't have an original fan for this slot 1. This is a Pentium 3. I think it's a 733 megahertz CPU. I'll do another video on this machine at some point, but here's the fan. It's nice to provide a few adapters, rubber mounts and things. It's got this fancy fold-out shell, which was very sophisticated. You can still buy these new for about 25-6 New Zealand dollars, but I went with just the one I found on eBay. I cut a lot of the video out because I did some things to this fan which would make a few people angry, so let's not go into that, but it is secured down again with 2 screws because the top ones, the fan's too tall, so it's very secure, it's not going anywhere. And then I just wanted to keep the cable management somewhat tidy, so just one small zip tie just to keep the cable for the fan out of the way. And yeah, you can see there it's very secure. I mean, there's flex, but it's not wiggle flex, like it's not loose. I actually put a tiny little bit of glue over the head of each screw just to make sure it doesn't back out or anything. And then yeah, it's just a matter of popping the CPU back in. This motherboard actually only really supports Pentium 2, so the mounting bracket doesn't clip in, but nevertheless I've had this in for a couple of years now, and yeah, here we go. You can see the computer does post. I can't believe how quiet the fan is. These fans are actually really good, so if you're having if you're struggling to find fans, I'd definitely check them out for your older machines. They're really good. I mean, the color scheme, I think you can get grey ones, and they've got some other ones available, but yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what I end up doing with old computer stuff on my weekends when I'm not filming a big project. I'd like to do more of these videos just so casual, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and as I said, not everything goes to plan, but here it is, and this is what I get up to, so yeah. Alright guys, well, enjoy your weekend, whatever you guys are up to, and stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for watching.